good morning, good afternoon, good night. Wherever you are in the world, it will depend on, which of those greetings is appropriate to you. My name is Olympia. This is my debut solo podcast. It's called Full of It, Full of Shit. You don't say the full of shit. It's like very tongue-in-cheek, when you look at the poster of sort of, it's full of it, but before the it, I'm going to be doing a shush. Nova came up with that. I don't remember when this came into our lives, but I think it was, way back when I really was, that sort of much of an asshole that I thought I'm going to write a memoir. What should it be called? And she just said, you're full of it. And I thought that's perfect. So full of shit. Welcome. I don't want this to be an ASMR thing, but if that's how you react, then I suppose that's what we're making here together. So I'm going to try and do these, a lot more frequently than our duo podcast, which is called I Think It Could Be Beef. And the reason that we wanted to do those to begin with was to have extra content on our channel, just throw it out there weekly, but Nova never wants to do them ever. So, and every bloody time we do it, we always try to come up with a different way of recording it, different microphone, different setup, where are we going to be? And I've just said to her every time, why don't we just use our phone, because it's so much better quality. Because whenever we do one of those podcasts, it sounds like we're sort of at the bottom of a bathtub, which it isn't, because we can't fit in our bathtub, and we have tried. So I'm doing this on my phone, and I've, prepared an array of topics for you. So I'm glad that you've decided to listen to this. Download it, take it on the go. That's what I like to do with podcasts. Either I'll listen to them on the way, to work, or when I'm walking somewhere, or at bedtime. It's all about bedtime, I like to listen to Jen Kirkman's podcast. She was on Chelsea lately. She's a comedian. She's so, moody. Everything she does, she just moans about everything, which I really sort of identify with. I like Mark Maron as well. And I'm not suggesting, you go listen to these people. Just stay with me here. I'm, certainly nicer than those people. They're very hubristic, and, they're celebrity types usually are. I've not got there yet. You might disagree with that, but that's not for me to say. So I'm just going to kick off, this podcast with, well, actually, Nova and I have just come back from town, the shitter town that we live in. We just went last minute Christmas shopping type thing. It's not for actual presents, because I like to do that way before. And I'm all about internet shopping. There's no fucking way I'm going into, these stores with just hundreds of assholes just clambering, and there's children everywhere and there's screaming. Oh, I've got some Fanta Fruit Twist on the go. I'm a bit gassy, so I apologise for that. That's fine, I'll continue. So I do everything online with my shopping, and I like Amazon is very straightforward, especially with my brother. I do have a brother. I don't know if I've ever told people about this. But he has a wish list. Do people still use Amazon wish lists? I mainly use it for him. I can't seem to find anyone else that has one, but it makes it so much easier. You find a price range, and you just send that shit. And I send it to my parents' house, and I go there for Christmas, and it's just there waiting. I don't know what the fuck it is I've ordered, but he wanted it. So, Merry Christmas. It's all about love and selection. So, I like eBay. Obviously, if you've ever watched our videos, you'll know that eBay is just where it's at. Just everything on eBay all the time. ASOS. Oh my God. Do you guys use ASOS? It's absolutely sort of, life-changing, I find. Because I use the ASOS Premier. ASOS is a worldwide brand, actually. I for a long time, thought it was just in the UK, but you can send this shit to, Zanzibar. That's not a real place. Did I mean to say that's not a real place? Myanmar. I don't know. Funny places around the world that you'd never heard of. There was a country. Oh my God. This was mind-blowing. I found out there's a country the other day that I did not know existed. I looked it up and I was like, what the hell? Where is that? I've never heard of it. I should have written it down, because now I don't even know what it is. So, great story to tell all of you. Do you guys know all the countries? There's so many. Anyway. So with ASOS Premier, it's £9 a year, which I think, you'll agree is very reasonable, even for me, and I don't like to spend money on shit. And you get free next day delivery on stuff. So that's great. That sorted me right out with presents. And I got my jacket for the Wendigo Solutions Christmas party from ASOS. It was a velvet. Actually, it's in the... What video is it in? We just shot a video, the favourites, the November favourites, or December, I don't know what month it was, the one that we've just done. You can see that jacket. It's a velvet, a black velvet. I'm having a bit of a romantic moment with velvet at the moment. And there's like leather fringe on it. And I didn't realise at the time, but there's like a sort of, at the top, it's like a metallic panel. I didn't realise it was quite so metallic looking. It's very like Adam Lambert. It's, I don't know. I thought Nova would like it, but she hates it. But she's got absolutely no taste, so there is that. So I hate going into shops. I can't do it at the best of times. Shopping, and you have to sort of, something hasn't got a price tag, and you have to ask some asshole, and they go and sort of find out something about it, and you're just standing there like a dick. So shopping is the worst. But I've done all my Christmas shopping now. The only thing is, my bloody mother. Now, I'm talking about my real mother, not Vesuvia. I don't know if it ever comes across or not. But Vesuvia in the, House of Avalanche, because there's a few people in that now. Are there? It might just be her. She lives next door. She's sort of a fake mother, if you like. That's Vesuvia Avalanche. My real mother has her birthday December 23rd, which, as anyone, well, it's shit for her, but it's shit for everyone else, because you think you're done with Christmas shopping and then you just remember, oh, fuck that, I've got to get a birthday present as well. So you have to actually go to the back of the card store and find, where all the birthday shit is, because it's just overtaken by Christmas. Like, who's selfish enough to have a birthday at Christmas time? Apart from Jesus, obviously, because that's, really who it's all about. It's all about Jesus in Nova and my... house, Novympia Heights. We do like to celebrate the Lord. Oh, great story, though. I'm going to go on to talking about cults in a bit. Because Nova and I think we figured it out, like, Christianity, religion and stuff. We think we figured it out. We know how it works, like the Matrix. We've totally nailed this. But, well, I'll get to that in a moment. It's a whole Netflix cult sort of tangent I'm going to go on to. But we were going shopping today because you have to get, wrapping paper and cards and shit. Okay, so this is something that I think Nova is really fucking weird for doing. And I would like you guys to back me up, please. Because I don't do this, and I think it's so bizarre that she does this. She thinks it's totally weird that I don't. But she will get everyone in her immediate family, so her mother and father and her two sisters, she will get them individual Christmas cards, which I think is totally fucking weird. Like, you'll get Christmas cards for your neighbour, Vesuvia next door. We just took around a card and, some bubbly and a nice little sort of flower arrangement. That's very sweet. And, your neighbours, you sort of, people you work with, just sort of assholes you don't really care for that much, but you need to sort of maintain a relationship, so you get them a Christmas card. Like, extended family, your aunt or some shit, you'll get them a Christmas card. You don't get, I have to get Nova one now because she bloody gets me one. She makes a big deal out of it. You have to get them all a Christmas card. That's fucking weird. And this is also weird. Now, this isn't weird because Nova's family are the only ones that do it. It's just the worst. So, I had Christmas Day with them last year. And on Christmas Day, like in my family, you just open all the presents in one go, right? Like, you just get it over with. You sort of wake up in the morning, you put piles around the living room so everyone knows where their piles are. Mine's always fucking pathetic for some reason, and my father's is always massive, and no one ever knows why this is. But anyway, so everyone's like, right, let's start, let's tuck in. You get going, you open some presents, you're like, thanks, Grandma, that's great. I really wanted this sock, that's amazing. In Nova's household, you have to go around to every person individually and watch them open a present, which is too much for me to handle because that ordeal went on for 4 hours, possibly. You just watch people, and you have to do that awful, oh my God, thank you so much. This is just what I wanted. This battery recharger is gorgeous. Thank you so much. Oh my God, thank you so much. So, I like to just get it over with. That's great. Where are the pigs in blankets? Let's watch the Queen. Do you guys watch the Queen? I love watching the Queen. I do quite like the Queen, actually. I tried watching that show on Netflix, The Royals. And I watched like 4 episodes, and it's so boring now. I just can't bring myself to watch it. But the royal family in general are quite amusing, I find. They have no hair. Like, between them, apart from Kate Middleton, the rest of them, they have no hair. They share like 3 pubes and, you know, crown, and that's it. So I'm having Christmas, you know, with my biological family this year, not Nova's family, and, you know, I for one am grateful that I don't have to sit through that again. No, you have to do it all individually. So, you know, you have to watch them. And when people can't open presents very quickly, they're struggling. You just think, oh my God, is it too soon to start drinking? We just had a lovely night out the other day. Nova and I are very into Midori. That was one of the first beverages that she... Well, when I first met her, that was generally her beverage of choice. So it's sort of cute. It reminds me of, you know, when Nova and I were first courting. Technically, it's disgusting. It's a melon liqueur. It's bright green. If you ever see it at the bar, it's sort of a very tall, thin glass, and it's sort of frosted, and it's green, bright, luminous green. Looks toxic. It is sort of toxic. It's very sweet. You know, we have it with lemonade. It's quite expensive, but we were drinking that, and the moment was right. The moment was set. We were just having a boogie on the dance floor. It was great, and that bloody song came on, and you know, I don't know if we ever mentioned this in our did we once do a video? Was it it wasn't a Q&A? Was it? Oh, it was How We Met. That was it. It was How We Met. And the bloody song that always used to play when Nova and I were together right at the beginning was, I threw a wish in the well, don't ask me, I'll never tell. Now I'm in your way. Listen, I don't know how it goes. Who sings that? It's not Christina Perri. What's the other one? I get them confused. Carly Rae Jepsen sings that one. Hey, I just met you, and this is bullshit. You know that song. Well, it came on. You know, we were dancing. We had some Medora. I thought, God, we've gone back, 4 years. How absolutely devastatingly depressing. But I'll move on now, because I've got a few topics lined up here, and Nova and I at the moment we're very into cults. Now, I don't know. We're not into the idea of being in one, although I have suggested to Nova that we start one. We are watching Charmed at the moment. It's on in the background. Nova just did a makeup video that was, very original and groundbreaking. And in the background there was Charmed was on. And they have a book of shadows. And I suggested to Nova, why don't we do a video where we have our own book of shadows? We can make it up. Because I'm so into, at the moment, the 90s, the first couple of seasons of Charm, the fashions, it's all about the fashions. They're so great. Mesh and velvet and little sort of things in your hair, like little braids and shit in your hair. That's just must be such a nightmare getting ready. But I wanted to do a book of shadows, and she was like, well, I think that's actually a real thing. It's like a Wiccan thing. So that might be mildly offensive, or highly offensive. But I don't know. I don't fucking know. But, I thought maybe we should start a cult. Very low-key cult. We're not going to make you shave in One Direction. As in, that, I don't want to bring up One Direction. I mean, physically shave in One Direction. Nothing to do with, there's not a joke there about shaving One Direction's pubes. I don't know why you would have made me say that. Quite angry, actually. It would be very light-hearted. What would we suggest people do, I don't want to... someone said, well, everyone can wear a lampshade. That was so 3 years ago, you guys, I don't know who that person was in that video, but that's done with. That's so old, But would people be interested? We could get a little hut somewhere. We could get a parcel of land, and the cult really is, KFC. That's it. That's all it is. So there's 4 main cults that we've been sort of researching the shit out of, because these people, there's no, beating around the bush here. I'm just going to check this is still recording. Can you imagine if I was just talking to myself? We're good. We're still here. Beautiful. I hope it's coming through okay. Hope it's nice and crisp and clear. The 4 sort of cults that we are really interested in. Let me try and remember these. Now, obviously, there's the and they have names. They all have names, but the one that we watched a documentary about the other day was the Jonestown one, which is, they're all basically, they're led by men. They're led by like one dude. Okay, one of them is a husband and wife couple. That one's fucked up. But they're usually like one dude. And they're all sort of slightly branches of Christianity, I think, is the main idea. Or Adventist. I don't know what an Adventist is. I certainly don't have an Advent calendar. But they make the people, really cut off connections with their family, which I just don't understand how these people... Okay, yes, they're being brainwashed. Everyone knows it's very straightforward. But how does it happen? How do they... because one of them, which is the most fascinating to me, is the Heaven's Gate cult. They were sent flyers, I think, about UFOs. And, if you see... How do you, first of all, just read that and think, oh my God, I really want to go and get brainwashed? How does that happen? I mean, obviously you might be slightly interested. Jehovah's Witnesses. Mind you, that's more sort of like a persuasion thing. So they get there. They have to cut off ties with their family completely, which, I mean, I'd find quite easy, but that's neither here nor there. And you have to give your life being to sort of nature, and that there's always a higher form of being. I think generally the idea is that these people are convinced that humans are scum and that there's a higher form of life. And I think generally that's because the cult leaders are usually either gay and they hate themselves, or they just generally hate themselves. They're like social outcasts, and they decide that because they are, they've got no self-esteem whatsoever, they need to inflict that on everyone else and say, you're not fucking worthy, you can't do shit, so come with me and I'll teach you how we can, jump on the next comet. That was the deal with, okay, the Heaven's Gate one is truly creepy. These people, can you hear that? That's the radiator. Our radiator has got a little pixie living in it or something. I'm in our bedroom, by the way. Shall I describe it for you? There's, panels of expensive mahogany on the walls. There's a plush sort of plum carpet beneath me. It's sort of a shag pile. There's a 4-poster, with a beautiful black sort of taffeta. I've just realised there's a video of our house tour, so I'm lying. I should have quit while I was ahead. It's all very white, it's all very boring, it's cold, and it's like a death room of death. But anyway, this radiator here, we should get a headboard, really. We keep talking about getting a headboard. It's on the list about, there's 1,000 other bloody things we have to do. Moving house is a pain in the ass. It's bullshit. You're never done. And you think you're so smart about it, and then you just realise that there's other shit you have to buy, like a toilet roll holder. Even though the downstairs shitter, the toilet roll holder just will not stay in place. I don't know who put that in there, who installed that. I don't know if actually, did we put it in the wall? Oh, maybe that wasn't there when we moved in. Maybe Nova fucked it up. I've just realised that it's all making sense to me now. So, yes, with the cults. So, the Heaven's Gate one is, I think it's the most fascinating one. These people just, they had to wear uniforms, and they had to wear, they had badges, like little placards on their sleeves, and it said like Heaven's Gate away team, because they thought, now stay with me here, they genuinely thought that if they killed themselves with a mixture of pills, and some of them, this is the worst thing, I think some of them took pills, but they didn't quite die. They were just sort of like hanging on, like sort of gross Grogans. So some of them had to have bags put over their heads as well. And they thought that if they did that at a specific time in these black uniforms with, were they Nike trainers or Adidas, that they would end up on Halley's Comet, which would then take them to the aliens who they think sort of created them and put them on Earth to figure out their plan. How you can possibly persuade someone that is a real thing, I do not know. Are these people are they fucking idiots? Are they desperate for love? There's one, it's called The End of the World Cult. Now, this is another documentary on Netflix. I think all of these 4... Okay, let me try and figure out the 4. Okay, so there's the Jonestown one. who was led by the one dude with the big glasses. And I think people think he was gay, so that explains that one. But he managed to get... Okay, well, how many people died in that? Like 300? Or was it more than that? I don't even know. It was a lot. Not all of them wanted to go, though, so that one was shady as fuck, because that was just a mass murder, essentially. But there was there's the Jonestown one, and that has a documentary on Netflix. That had a documentary, but it also had, like, reenactments, which I thought were kind of cheesy. I don't really care for reenactments that much. Like, reconstructions, unless it's, like, Crime Watch and it's necessary. I thought that was a bit weird. The other one is, as I've just said, the End of the World cult. And that is a guy who... He liked all the little children, like little girls. But the weirdest thing about that is he had, I think, 2 wives. And he said to this other woman in this cult, God has told me I need to just fuck you. I just need to have sex with you. Oh, there's a motorbike outside. Still going. Burn rubber, baby. So that... Like, in itself, the lady, okay, but if you're, you know, giving your life soul to this one man for no fucking reason, okay, that's fine, you know, maybe you're going to be persuaded, you know, by someone that you love, if you think that they're giving you love. But then this guy went to the wife's husband and said, by the by, dude, just so you're aware of this, and it's totally fine, by the way, I just banged your wife because God told me to. There's a moment in this documentary where they're discussing it. The filmmaker, who's not unlike Louis Theroux, sort of very dry British person, is speaking to I think it's the lead cultist dude, and the husband is in the background, and you can see the husband is like leaning against a wall, like looking down, like devastated. This is happening to him, but the whole way through, like even towards the end, you can tell the guy doesn't want to be there. Why are you still there? Why do it? They don't have anything. They don't have KFC. It's such a boring lifestyle. You know? I mean, it's so bad. So there's those 2. The third one, what is it called? The third one is about a guy who was an ex-porn star. Okay, this one is incredible. So he's a gay porn star, and he had a cult. Kingdom... I can't remember what it's called. The documentary is called Holy Hell. This is a great documentary, I think. The guy had a group of like 60 people, and in the end, he just started to... Yes, okay, he used to do something where he would give people the knowing. Now, this must have taken... I don't know if he made up the entire thing, or if he had some kind of training or hypnosis. I don't know. But the idea is that he had these people, and every once in a while, when he thought these people were ready to take on the next life form or reach the next level of this cult, which is generally what all these cults are doing, that he would give them the knowing, where he would take them into a forest and make them sort of kneel down and maybe just like rub their forehead, like really violently just rub their forehead. And then they would just start crying, and they would be like, you know, in The Craft... Stay with me here. You know when Fairuza Balk, so the main chick, Nancy, you know when she discovers, when she finally, they call the 4 corners on the beach, and she takes into her all the power of, is it Manol? And then in the morning when she wakes up, there's dead, like whales and shit on the beach, and it's like nature has like come to her, and she's like taken nature into her, and she's like an all-powerful being. I feel like that's what these people thought they were getting. What he whispered in their ear, I don't know. Like, what would he have said? It's like Pulp Fiction, what's in the briefcase? I don't know. Can you imagine, like, in our cult, like, I'll give people, you know, the knowing, you know, come into the forest with me, please, and kneel down just here. And ready? Okay, ready? Where the fuck is the marinara? Imagine that. And then they're on the next level. I don't know. So in the end, after this, and these people were just crying in the forest. They were running around like assholes crying. It was very Blair Witch, but like a good version. He started to say to these, you know, young, impressionable men, who I think actually were all queer, looking back. You know, they were certainly very feminine gentlemen. Well, he just ended up, you know, forcing himself upon them. And in the documentary, they look back and they're like, I didn't want to do any of that. It was so gross, you know. And there's no, I'm not belittling people that are, abused. If you sort of think of something as being kind of acceptable at the time, then, you're going to do it, especially if you think it's love or, it's someone that you can trust or something. But eventually all these people found out that he was doing this, and I think he had been abusing maybe 3 or 4 dudes, and they all got caught wind of it, and they all upped and left, with the exception of, and it's great in the end of this documentary when they all find out, and they all find out he used to be a porn star, and his way of life was, you can't have sex, unless it's with me, you guys are not allowed to have sex. They found out he was in a porn star, I don't know what his name was, like Dirk Bunghole or something. And after that, some of them leave and some of them stay. But right at the end of the documentary, there's a big, long bit where it shows you which ones of the cult stayed and which ones left. It was very creepy to see the ones that decided to stay after, after they had found out that he was just a massive fraud. A massive fraud. Oh, you know what else he did at the end? And this guy had so much plastic surgery, it was like Pete Burns level sort of plastic surgery. He would persuade the cultists that they needed plastic surgery so he could see what the procedure would look like on someone else before he got it for himself. By the end, his face was just like a giant hemorrhoid. It was not great. So there was that, and he used to make them make films of him, worship him, and he would play like Jesus. Well, that's the thing. These cult people, they consider themselves to be revolutionists, leaders, I saviors. That's what it is. I'm here to save you. So they are all Jesus figures, they think. And this is what Nova and I was thinking about. What if Jesus was just one of these guys, made up a load of stuff and decided to start a cult. And, it was so long ago that you didn't have, there wasn't porn, so you couldn't be like, oh, he made a porno, and then, he just it just spiraled out of control. And now we have churches everywhere. What if he was actually just a crazy asshole, And I'm sorry if you are Christian, that's fine, you live your life, do what you like. But it's just it's very interesting. So, what was the 4th one? I think I said there was a 4th cult. So there's the Jonestown one, there's the porno one, there's the end of the world one. The end of the world one is so stupid because he keeps saying this date is when the world's going to end. And on that date, they come out of their little hut and they wander around the desert with pitchforks, woo! And they kept shouting trick or treat, which was just very bizarre because it was nowhere near Halloween, I don't think. And then it was oh, sorry guys, there's a new date set now. Put it in your pencil and in your diaries for when we're all going to check out. And it just never, these people must be why does the world never end? He keeps saying it's going to end. Funny that. These assholes. You've got to be a fucking idiot to give up your whole life, give up your possessions and go and just, go and lick a tree somewhere. What is that about? So, who wants to be in the Novympia cult? Basically, if you want to join, it's all about KFC and booze. I don't know what would make it a cult, really. I would be the leader. Nova would be my second in command, my second banana. As Helen Mirren, she used the term second banana. What was that film? Oh my God, Teaching Mrs. Tingle. Do you guys remember Teaching Mrs. Tingle? That was a great movie. Technically, one of the worst movies ever. If you've not seen it, I love how I just have to just go on a tangent about Helen Mirren because she's a class act. But this one time, she was in a movie where she played a mean British teacher. No. She's British, isn't she? But she put on the worst American accent ever. So first of all, that was hilarious. But she played a mean teacher, and these students took her hostage in her house and tied her to a bed because she found out one of the students cheated in an exam. For fuck's sake, it was just the worst setup ever. So they just have to just keep going back to Helen Mirren's house, and she's tied to the bed, all bondage. It's such a polished turd. You guys have to check it out. Put it on your Christmas movie list. Teaching Mrs. Tingle. I don't have a favourite Christmas movie, though. I don't tend to Christmas movies are kind of depressing. I don't know. They're just too chirpy, happy pie. We watched Home Alone the other day, that when we're getting ready. We do like to do that, actually. When we're getting ready, we'll throw something on. Netflix is revolutionary, you know. I'm always going to want to talk about it. You know, ooh, there's that Fanta fruit twist coming back to haunt me again. The worst thing about Netflix, you're going to have to bear with me here. Oh, Christ. Well, there's several things that are shit about it. The endless scrolling, you know, and this is not technically Netflix's fault, but I am so open to suggestions, and basically mine and Nova's life, as I know a lot of other people experience this. We sit there scrolling through posters, and I'll say, how about that? How about that? And Nova just goes, no. And we'll put something on, and we put on something the other day, and it was right towards the end of the timeline, and apparently I'd already watched it, and I was like, oh, I don't remember this one. I was like, I'll watch this again. Do you want to watch this? And Nova goes, well, actually, no. Now that you've seen it, I don't want to watch it. What fucking reasoning is that? That just because someone else has seen it, you don't want to watch it. You wanted to watch it a minute ago, so that I find very bizarre. And you know what else? Let's talk about Nova for a minute. We watched, what was it called? The OA. We've started watching something called The OA, which is about a blonde chick who went missing when she was about 7 or something. And I'm all over that. The missing people is just so fascinating to me. Let's talk about missing people for a minute. But she goes missing when she's 7. And when she went missing, she was blind. And when she comes back, when they find her, she's got her vision back. And the first question is, oh my God, where have you been? The second question is, why can you now see? And she keeps calling herself the OA. And her name was Prairie, which is obviously a very strange name, but it's gonna be, we think, it's aliens probably that took her away, or something to do with aliens. She's got to get back to the mothership. Oh God! I was overtaken then. Maybe that was aliens. Do you know what it is? I get really tired when I'm cold, and my arm is resting against this radiator, which is not on. Nova puts the heating on at very strange times. When it's bloody cold now, she won't have it on. Who's in it? The guy from The Walking Dead plays her dad. I don't know what his name is in The Walking Dead. We stopped watching it because it got really boring, because all they ever do is just stay in that compound, and it's the same shit over and over again. The older guy with the white ponytail, he plays the father. Just a quick check, this is still recording. I wonder if it'll tell me when it's not recording anymore. Do you think it'll just be like, you run out of space? I hope it doesn't do that. That'd be super lame. I don't know. What's his name? With the white ponytail. Anyway, he plays the father. And creepy as hell, the mother is played by the woman who played Christabella in Silent Hill. Now, if you guys have seen Silent Hill, she was the crazy bitch in the sanctuary who just literally burns everyone. She was like, burn her as a witch, which me and Nova love to do when we're just walking around town. You know, we'll go into Greg's, and there'll be some lady there sort of looking at a pasty, and we'll go up to her and go, burn her! Maybe we shouldn't do that, actually. It's not very nice. I don't know who the chick is that plays the blonde woman, the daughter who went missing, but I don't really like it so far. Nova liked it, but this is the point I was going to make about this, was that she said to me, oh, you mustn't have liked it because you were looking at your phone the whole time. I was like, what kind of reasoning is that? Because just because you like it and I don't like it, you know, you think it's because I'm looking at my phone, I couldn't have possibly been enjoying it. It's daft. She's so daft. We're having carbonara later on. I'm super excited about it. I used to get carbonara from like a jar. You get it like a pasta sauce type situation. You know how it is. And because I love like cheese and ham and pasta. Oh my God, it's the best thing. But we went to Rome and we had a real one, which is just like egg. So I tried making one, and it's revolutionary, you guys. It's the simplest thing, a little pancetta in a pan, some garlic and some oil. You just go to town, and then you put the pasta in. Well, we've got linguine because we really like linguine. It's a bit thicker than spaghetti. It's a bit nicer. And after that, you take it off the heat, put some eggs in there, and just mix that shit up. You don't want it to scramble it, but just so it's like heated up enough. Oh my God, it's great. Garlic bread, obviously. I'm quite peckish now. Looking forward to this. But yes, so that's what we're watching at the moment on Netflix, the OA. We're going to start we're going to watch another episode later on, I think, when Nova's finished all of her ridiculous rapping. She goes to town on rapping. My God, she raps absolutely. She gets, like, extra shit to stick on, like ribbons and bows, and she spends money on wrapping paper. I hate rapping. I can't do it. I think that might have been one of my shitters in our favourites and shitters videos, but I can't stand it. It's so annoying. It's just like it's gone, like in a second. People rip it open, you know? But that's neither here nor there. You know what I was researching the other day? I'm going to talk about missing people now because this, along with cults, I think are absolutely fascinating. How in this day and age, someone can go missing. Do you guys remember, this isn't someone who went missing, but there was that documentary called Dreams of a Life, and it was about a woman, her name was Joyce Vincent, and she had been dead in her apartment for 3 years. I think that's correct. Before someone discovered her. They broke in because I think her money must have run out and, you know, she couldn't pay the bills anymore. It was on a direct debit or some shit. So these people broke in and she was just dead on the floor in front of her TV, and the TV was still on after 3 years. That is just the most fascinating thing. And they didn't, because it was so sort of a long time had passed, I don't think they could quite figure out how she died. I think maybe it was an asthma attack or something, but she was just sitting in front of the TV, and I think about this documentary all the time, and she was surrounded by gifts that she was wrapping for people who clearly didn't miss her. Who was she wrapping these presents for? Because they clearly didn't, you know, think, oh, I didn't get a present from Joyce, or like, shit, I haven't heard from Joyce in a long time. No one gave a shit about her. And she was so gorgeous. She was she looked a bit like, she was mixed race. I don't know who does she look a bit like? Nope, can't think of anyone. Well, she was young and mixed race, and she was gorgeous. And she was hot shit. She was like a hot piece around the office. But no one missed her when she was dead. Okay, she wasn't missing, but you guys have got to watch that documentary. It's called Dreams of a Life. Actually, I think that's on Netflix as well. God, it's all about Netflix. Netflix Life. That's our cult. If you want to be in the Novympia cult, come round. We'll order KFC and we'll watch a documentary about a cult or, like, you know, a missing person. Great. So I think about that all the time. Because in this day and age, how does someone go missing? I guess, you know, if they're missing for so long, well, you would just assume that they're dead, wouldn't you? You know, Madeleine McCann. Okay, I mean, you don't want to come to conclusions about what happened there. Do people still think she's around? Because if someone has gone for so long, like, when did Madeleine McCann disappear? Like 7 years ago? What year are we now? 2016. Oh my God, no longer than that. When did she go missing? 2007 maybe? About 9 years? Something like that. A ridiculous amount of time. I mean, maybe because she was younger, it'd be harder to find her now because she wouldn't look the same. But these people that vanish and then they come back again. What was the name of the chick? Elizabeth Smart. Do you remember Elizabeth Smart? Okay, this is a double whammy because this is a cult and a missing person in one go. Oh my God, fascinating. So she went missing, little blonde girl, when she must have been, 15? I don't know, something like that. No, younger than that. Maybe like 12, I don't know. And, you know, people thought she had obviously been killed or, you know, whatever it was. And they found her years later, and she was living with this creepy guy and his wife in some sort of, you know, compound, and she had to wear like a big kind of, I don't know what it was, cloak, or was it like a burqa they put her in, so she was like concealed, and she was, I don't know, like, how does that happen? How can you, for so long, this kind of activity can go on and people just don't know about it? Do you guys know the one about the girl who, she worked on a Disney cruise ship, which that straight away, alarm bells are ringing, because Disney, to me, is so shady. I don't know if anyone knows about the website Snopes.com, but you have to go on Snopes.com. If you're like me and you love to endlessly read, you know, about, like, on Wikipedia, you find yourself 2 a.m. and you're reading about, like, that doctor who, like, stole that patient and stuffed her full of shit. Anyway, God, I go on such a tangent. What am I even talking about anymore? Snopes is a website where you can... It sort of debunks, like, folklore, like, legends and myths and sort of urban legends, basically. And it says whether they're true or they're false, or if it's, like, a mixed kind of response. And there's a whole section about Disney folklore, about, you know, if there's hidden shit in movies, like, you know, the dust cloud in The Lion King that says sex in the air, stuff like that. That there was a freeze frame in The Rescuers where there was some bird got her tits out. All of these are true. I mean, the sex one is ambiguous, but they're mainly true. But a lot of them are about, not about the movies so much as they are about, like, the theme parks. You know, people that die at the theme parks in mysterious situations. And apparently no one's ever pronounced dead at a Disney theme park. They make sure to get them the fuck off the property. Get them to the hotel. Not the hotel. Get them to the hotel. What's going on at the hotel? I don't know. Get them to the hospital so they can be declared dead at the hospital. Because they don't want to have anyone declared dead at a Disney park. They know what they're doing. But there's people that have died on rides, and, you know, there's that one poor bitch. What was her name? Deborah Stone. Now this is awful. There's a ride at Disneyland, and it was called... It's in the section of Disneyland in the Magic Kingdom. I think it's called Tomorrowland. I don't know if it's still called that. It's supposed to be sort of futuristic, or is it sort of based on what the future they thought the future looked like in the 60s? Something like that. And there's a big ride where you go in. It's not so much a ride. And you sit down. It's a big audience. And you sit down, and there's like a show of, like, animatronic robots, and the stage, like, rotates, and it's like... I think when I went to see, and I did go on this ride at the time... was it called the Story of Progress, Human Progress, something like that? Of course, when I went on this ride, I would have been sort of 10, so it's a long time ago. I think it's still there, though. Anyway, this bird worked there, and she thought she would take a shortcut to the backstage, ended up going in a wrong way, and as this thing rotated, she was crushed between a wall and this big rotating stage. I mean, how... absolutely horrendous. And I think since then they've installed, like, a breakaway... Kelly Clarkson, Breakaway, great song. Like a big breakaway wall, I think. So, you know, should that happen again, God forbid, it would just, like, someone would fall through the other side. But God, there's so many stories about Disney. I just think it's so creepy. Like, there's a bar in Disneyland that's hidden away. What's the name of it? Club 33. It's, like, the only place that serves booze, but it's all hidden and secretive. You know? But the whole point I was talking about Disney was there was this one girl on a Disney cruise ship. Her name was Rebecca Corium. And she was British. She worked on one of... I'm sure there's lots of Disney cruise ships. I can't say what the name of it was. Melody of the Seas or some shit like that. I don't know. I might just take a sip of the Fanta Fruit Twist. You guys don't mind. Bear with me, please. Quite into this at the moment, actually. Is that considered rude in, you know, podcast parlance to drink midway through? I don't know. You guys don't mind. So this happened, when did it happen? Maybe like 5 years ago? I don't really know. She disappeared on this cruise ship. She absolutely vanished. She worked for them. I don't know if she had anything to do with, like, entertainment. I think she was more of an admin sort of person. And she vanished, and people were like, where the hell's Rebecca? They found her on the CCTV, and she had answered a phone call in this lobby. She picked up one of the phones. She starts speaking to someone, and she looks absolutely distraught. She starts getting really agitated. She slams the phone down. She walks away, and no one ever saw her again. And this was a person who I don't believe had a boyfriend. You know, her parents were absolutely baffled. There was no reason why she should be in such a state. And then, you know, she clearly just jumped overboard. There's no footage or any kind of, you know, images captured that would suggest that she had gone overboard or anything like that. But if you disappear on a cruise ship, I think it's safe to say you probably jumped overboard. I think there's some reports of crew members and stuff having seen her near... There's like a crew area. There was a crew area at the front of the ship that was, where Kate Winslet would have done the flying thing with Jack. What do you call that? The stern? Is that the front of the ship, the stern, or the bow? The bow section, that's the front. The stern is the back. Okay. And, yeah, they maybe saw her at the front. But she must have gone overboard. Maybe what do you think? What do you guys think she did? She could have... Like, if they're in the middle of the ocean, like, you can't hide away for so long that when they dock, you can just get off. Because surely they would be, like, checking who was getting off the ship. Like, doing a head count so that they can make sure that there's not people still left on the boat, like when they turned it round. Or I don't know how boats work. What do? Do you just get to a port and then reverse out of the port? I don't bloody know. But I think about missing people. I think it's fascinating in this day and age how people can go missing, for so long. And then they get found again. Or how can, it not be more... There's cameras everywhere. There's absolutely cameras everywhere. What was the name of that girl? Oh, this is a fascinating one. I am absolutely full of useless shit. I hope that if you're going to be, continuing with listening to my podcast, that you're going to, enjoy all of my anecdotes and tidbits. Tidbits? Is it titbits or tidbits? I don't know. How funny. Where the fuck is the marinara? So, what was her name? It began with Maura Murray. Do you guys remember Maura Murray? This was a fascinating one. So Maura Murray was, by all accounts, kind of an all-American girl. I think she was, how old? Maybe 19, 20. I think she was at university. Do I sound kind of nasal? Maybe talking for so long, it's gone a bit nasal. I don't know. My nose feels a bit funny. She was an all-American girl. And she, 1920, and she, got great grades. She had a boyfriend. I think she was engaged to this guy, and she was, just a high-achieving, like, very, well-respected girl. And one day, she told her university professor that she could not attend like a seminar or something because there was a death in the family. I think it was either a death in the family or, an issue, a family problem. She couldn't attend. She got in her car and she went to a sort of convenience mart or a liquor store or something. She bought a ton of alcohol. Now, this was a girl who didn't drink. She didn't drink. But she bought all of the ingredients to make a White Russian cocktail, which I don't know what a White Russian is now, I can't remember, but this is what I'm just remembering from this documentary. And by the way, her parents said afterwards, there was no death in the family, she made the entire thing up, she fabricated it, but she was heading to a small town where I think her and her father used to go when they were younger. So she knew the town quite well, but why she upped and, got all this alcohol and went to this town, no one really knows. And then her car was found. I think, what did she do? Did she crash it? She crashed it in the middle of, like, a road going through, like, a winding path going through a forest. I think she crashed it. Someone was there at the time and witnessed her, and was she hysterical and she got out of the car and she bolted and that was it and no one ever saw her again? It's very odd. There's so many things that, if it was a movie, you would think, oh, that's ridiculous. This is going to be the most contrived storyline. Because what on earth? I mean, I think people generally think that she was meeting, like, some other sort of lover or something who maybe, they were going to a motel and they were just going to get wasted or something. But then why would she just vanish? Was she just abducted on the same night that she just decided to take off and have a wild kind of rebellious evening? There's so many questions. And You know, if you're like me, I would take a note of all the people I've mentioned and research the shit out of them, because I would be there for hours. You know, it's so, I mean, for God's sake, it's so tragic. It's bloody awful that this even happens at all, but there is an element of fascination to it, you've got to admit. You know, where do these people go? Where are they? Like, what are they doing? I don't know. Maybe we should move on to something else. How long have I got left? Do you guys want me to go? I've got about 10 minutes left. That's fine. Let's make it about an hour, I think. I think about an hour, which should be great for Olympia's podcast. Full of shit. I'll finish off then with something that I would like to possibly introduce in 2017, because there's lots of things we've promised. You know, we've been talking about merchandise for a year. Fuck that. You know, how embarrassing that it's taken so long. That actually is going to happen very soon. No one wants to hear about it anymore. You guys are so bored of it. There's a graphic of me, and it's a lovely sort of big brunette hair with a bow, and I've got a nice glass of wine, and it says, "Alright." It's so cute. And then Nova's, she's crossing her arms, and she looks all sort of, you know, disapproving of me. Then there's a lovely picture of Head, is another one. Then there's a meme, the sort of lampshade meme, that's going to be one of them. And then there's one that someone made for us, which is absolutely incredible. And it's a picture, it's a graphic of 6 different sort of screens of a video game, a Novympia video game, and it's done like video game graphics, like sort of Mario type graphics, and it is insane, the attention to detail that this person did. And I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name of the guy. Obviously he's going to get full credit if you are listening, because we are going to put that on one of our t-shirts. But it's absolutely incredible. So it's like Nova and I, little sprites, like little characters, and the backgrounds are like maybe based on our old living room, or like one of our stupid paintings that we have up. It's just, the attention to detail is insane. And Head is in there. Oh, it's amazing. I love it. It's so cute. That's going to go on there as well. I think there's going to be t-shirts, hoodies, all sorts of bullshit. And they've all got the Novympia brand on them to be worn proudly by assholes everywhere. And that leads me on to what I want to do. So I am currently involved in something called the Drag Face Off on Facebook. It's a cute, you know, drag competition. There are hundreds of these things online, you know, little sort of drag competitions. It's a very sort of, it's a drag race sort of format, you know, where, you know, you get a bunch of contestants and they are given a weekly challenge. You know, we're currently in the Drag Face Off. We're down to our final 4. I think after tonight it's going to be the final 3. And I said to Nova, we should so do one of these competitions. And I said to her, let's call it Novympia's Asshole Race. Okay, stay with me though. Obviously, if you think this is going to be something that you would like to be a part of, or you think would be a good idea, because we'd make videos about this, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. Because I think, you know, you can enter if you are a lady. You can enter if you are a man. You can enter if you are a dog. You know, you can enter your cactus. You know, if your cactus turns it out, you fucking enter your cactus. You know, if it's a turned cactus, then I'd like to, you know, see a cactus do a death drop. You know, maybe a cactus can't do a lip sync or something, but we'd iron out all the fine details. But every week we'd ask you to do a look, and it would be ridiculous bullshit. And I think it would be so exciting to see, you know, people, and we'd scramble a prize package together, maybe an Olympia t-shirt, you know, maybe a family bucket of chicken or something would be involved. But I think that would be so much fun. I think Nova's on board, which is quite surprising, because usually she poo-poos all of my ideas. She thought it was ridiculous that we were going to make a video where I was addicted to pretending to be furniture. But look how that turned out. We did quite well from that. So, I think, yes, that would be something that we would absolutely love to do in 2017. I'm quite excited about it. We've got a night as well, actually. If you happen to be in the Bournemouth area, we're going to be at Crystal Lubricant she's a London performer. She's got a night at a bar in Bournemouth, and we're going to come and ruin it for her. So if you want to see us again, we haven't been in the Bournemouth area, the Bournemouth scene for a while. But yes, we're going to come and do a little number there. And that's going to be at the DYMK bar in Bournemouth. And that's going to be in February. So she's doing a lip sync battle, I think it is. And, Nova and I are going to help judge that. It's going to be so fun. We've never actually met Crystal before. If you're listening to this, you're probably, aware of LGBT, like the LGBT community, like names of people. So she's, I think she's from Brighton. She's in London at the moment. But we've never met her. Nova and I, in terms of, like, the drag community, we don't really know anyone. We're sort of loners. We're sort of, I don't know if it's because people sort of think of internet. Oh, I don't want to use the word internet personality. How absolutely disgusting. But I don't know if people consider them to be sort of non-starters, just sort of assholes. I don't know if they think maybe we just do this in our bedrooms like losers and then never go out. I don't know how it works. Maybe it's because we're always in Bournemouth, But we don't know that many people really in the UK. I don't think people would consider us to be like UK queens. I don't think people, really know. We haven't really met anyone. I don't know. Maybe we've got to do a UK tour. Where would you like us to go? Brazil. No, I would never go there. It's too bloody far. I can't stand aeroplanes. But I'd certainly go to I went to Manchester recently. I didn't go in drag though. Are people going to the, what is that thing? Is it called Drag World? There's a drag convention. I think it's in London. I don't know if it's next year. That's set to be quite big, I think, based on what I can read about. I don't know how legitimate it is. I suppose it probably is. I think they've said they've got a lot of rude girls and stuff going. I don't really know. Maybe we should go to that. Maybe just set up a little booth and just offer people sort of free hugs or something. Cheese singles. That'd be nice. I'd like to go to DragCon, actually, in LA. Nova and I are planning on going to LA at some point. Probably not soon. We've got far too much shit to deal with here. God, it's so awful. But we are planning on going there soon. So I'd love to do like a Besties for Cash. What are the Wow Presents videos that they do? I'd love to do that. Do people still paint James St. James? I mean, what would we even do? We've absolutely no discernible talent to share. So I think Besties for Cash would be fun because Nova and I don't know anything about each other or share any interests. So I think, what do you think? Well, what do you think? I think that'd be great. So yeah, I'm gonna probably wrap up soon. I'm gonna go downstairs, see how Nova's doing with her rapping. Got some editing to do. I'm peckish actually, so I think I'll probably just get that tea on. Oh, there's so much to clean in the kitchen. I hate cleaning the kitchen. Nova does the laundry. I don't know if this is a fair divide, and you tell me if you think it's a fair divide. I do like kitchen shit, like I clean the kitchen, and Nova does the laundry. And that wasn't really ever discussed, because Nova doesn't let me do the laundry, because she thinks I would ruin it. Okay, listen, once upon a time, I used to mix, coloured stuff and white stuff. But I don't do that anymore. I don't do it. Why? Because I don't do any laundry anymore, because Nova does it. But I would do it. Like, if it was her shit, I would do it. I just don't really care about my stuff. I like a nice grey t-shirt. Don't people like grey stuff? I love grey. I had a grey moment, back in 2011. I had a big grey moment. But I don't know if that's a fair divide. But anyway, the point is, there's a lot of shit to do downstairs. And then tomorrow I'm going to London, actually. Yeah, to see my biological family. For Christmas time. Oh, you have to please so many people at Christmas, don't you? Small talk is the worst thing in the world. I can't stand it. If someone asks me some bullshit question, I'm just going to punch them square in the face. I've got no time for it. What are you doing with your life? Oh, well, where do you want to start? I dress like a lady on the internet. It's just not a feasible lifestyle, is it? Who ever decided that was an okay thing to do? Oh, listen, Chooks, it's been fun. I've had fun, having this chance to sit down and talk to you. I hope that this is going to be, it's going to be received well. I hope it's going to sound good, like crisp, and that you're able to, I don't know, do we have a SoundCloud account? I think we do, but I don't know if we pay for it, or we might have reached a limit. I don't know if you can put it on SoundCloud, but I should do. Rue's podcast is on SoundCloud with Michelle. And does anyone else who listens to that podcast think Michelle talks way too much? Like, Rue can't get a word in edgeways. Usually, maybe now that they have... because I remember listening to, the very first one. I don't really listen to it anymore. But I listened to a few. And I love Michelle. I think she's a very wise person. She's got some great, the shit she says, I think, is usually spot on. She's very smart. But my God, she goes on. Doesn't she go on? Rue doesn't get in. Rue's sitting there just thinking, yeah, oh, when are you going to let me talk, bitch? That was a great impression, by the way. It sounded a bit more like Michael Jackson. I think I sound so nasal. Do you guys think I sound nasal? That's such a shame. I don't know about that. Oh, I'm going to need to take a lem sip and put on some Agatha Christie. So, as usual, guys, please subscribe to our channel. It's Novympia. Please tell a friend. Our subs go up sort of quite steadily. It's so much fun to see, people coming on board. I got a message the other day from this gorgeous lady, and she said, I get so anxious. I have anxiety, which is something I can sort of relate to, especially when I'm hungover, my God. And she said, I love coming to your space, which I think is what me and Nova have made. It's like a little cute space. And it's just where, we don't give a shit. You can just be yourself, come and be an absolute loser with us. And let's talk about, people that go missing and, cults and stuff. And she said, I was just feeling really shit today, and I just feel really happy now. And that just made me think, you know what, if I can make one person happy, I'm such an arsehole. But anyway, it's a great, I love what we do here. So, please continue to help us out. And find our social media as well in the description below. Fuck me, this is going downhill fast. I am on Twitter. I don't use Twitter that much because I find it scary and unnecessary, and it's just a waste of time. But my Twitter handle is Olympia. Hi has 2 R's. And what else am I on? Instagram. Oh my God, find me on Instagram, Olympia Avalanche. And also, what's the other one? Oh, on Facebook. The Novympia page on Facebook's taken off a bit. That's fine. Come and find us there as well. Thanks, Chooks. So I'll speak to you very soon. This has been Olympia for Full of It, Full of Shit.